So the Philadelphia Eagles asked to interview 3 coaches yesterday. Let's talk about them. What is going on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is the Philly Talk Podcast. If you are new to the channel and love talking Philly sports every single day, well, go right ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't done it, make sure you turn on post notifications so you know when I go live or drop some content. We're going to have so much Eagles content this offseason, from draft videos to live call-ins to collabs. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so many positions to fill, and the draft coming up. So don't miss out. On that note, smash the like button if you're still frustrated with Howie Roseman, and just hope that he loses a little bit of his power, no matter how it gets done. If we give it to the coach, if we give it to John Dorsey, but Jeff Lurie got to strip him a little bit. With all that being said, let's get into the 3 coaching candidates that the Philadelphia Eagles asked to interview. Let's start with the first one, Todd Bowls. As we all know, Todd Bowls was on the Eagles staff back in 2012. He also has ties to Philly because he's a Temple graduate, but Todd Bowls was the secondary coach in 2012, like I said, under the defensive coordinator Juan Castillo. Remember the experiment that went wrong? Juan Castillo, an offensive line coach, promoted to defensive coordinator. That's why you got to watch the in-house promotions when they don't deserve it. But he was a secondary coach in 2012 under Juan Castillo, but Juan Castillo did get fired before the season was over, and Todd Bowls did serve as the interim head coach for a period of time, but that's about it. He became the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals, which led to a head coaching job for the New York Jets. Now, remember, my brother's a Jets fan. For those who are new to the channel, you don't know that. But for those who've been rocking with me for a minute, know that my brother is a Jets fan. And he didn't really like him too much. He started out tough with a 10-6 record, but the second year, he kind of went down. And by year number 3, when they were thinking about extending him, he finished with a 4-12 record, and they got rid of him. Now, he's a defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So if we did want to pursue, we would have to wait until they're finished with their playoff run. As for Todd Bowls, again, if he was coming here as a defensive coordinator, I'd be okay with it. But no one's going to go from D coordinator to D coordinator. He wants the head coaching job. But I am scared to give a guy who was once a head coach, who went back to what he did best at the coordinator position, whether it's offense or defense, trying to go back to head coach, like a Jim Schwartz, like a Dan Quinn. Once you try a head coach and you fail, depending on how you fail and who you failed with, I don't see him getting another chance for a head coach, at least not for the Eagles. Now, you get a defensive mind in here. You really want to get an offensive coordinator who knows what he's doing to run that side of the ball. But, hey, shout out to Todd Bowls. Wish him best luck. But I just don't think he'll be a fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's move on to the next guy, another defensive mind, but I like this guy a little bit, Robert Saleh. So Robert Saleh got his shot in the NFL in 2005 as an interim coach on the defensive side of the ball for the Houston Texans. He then moved to the quality control coach for the Texans in 06 to 08. Then eventually moved to the linebacker coach, a positional coach, in 09 through 10 with the Texans. Eventually, he moved on to go with the Seahawks, and he was a part of the Legion of Boom through 2011 all the way to 2013 as another quality control coach. Again, that was when the Legion of Boom were winning Super Bowls. And then after that, he became the Jags linebacker coach through 14 and 16, and then he found his home as a D coordinator for the Niners from 17 till now. Now remember, in 2019, he led this defense that was 6th in turnovers with 27, 2nd in total defense in the NFL with only allowing 281.8 yards per game, and 4th in sacks with 48. And this was actually the first time since 2003 that the 49ers defense was top 10 in both scoring defense and yards per game. I like this guy. He has attitude. He's engaging with his defensive players on the sideline. Only 41 years old. And again, no experience at head coach, so you are taking a chance. But you could do something like the Giants did. They took a chance on Joe Judge, a special teamer for the Patriots, as head coach. You don't see many special teamers jump all the way to head coach, but what they did to ensure his success was get a veteran head coach type play caller in Jason Garrett to mold him. Now, Jason Garrett's going to eventually leave and he's going to get a young OC in there, but he gave him experience. You can see the Eagles possibly doing that with a guy like Robert Saleh. And again, you're still taking a chance when you move somebody from a defensive coordinator all the way to head coach who don't have no play calling or experience. But again, I like his energy and maybe that can translate. And one thing I really do like about him, in 2020, his defense was destroyed, and he was still able to rally the troops to go out and play for him hard. Joey Bosa, Richard Sherman, D Ford, a multitude of players not there, and he still kept his defense competitive. Look at the 2020 defense for the Niners. They played good in certain aspects. Wasn't good enough because they had injuries on both sides of the ball, but I like that next man mentality up. We know that from Doug Peterson, and it is a good characteristic in a guy that you want to lead the troops in battle. With that being said, let's go to the third and last guy we interviewed. Now remember, there's going to be more guys, and I'm going to talk about other guys, but these are the three that we interviewed. Aurther Smith. So Aurther Smith got his start in the NFL as a defense quality assistant for Washington in 07 and 08. He went back to college, coached some college teams. Then he got back to the NFL with the Titans as a defense quality control coach in 2011. Then he moved to the offensive side of the ball, quality coach in 2012. Then in 2013, he was the offensive line and tight end assistant coach. And then he moved to the assistant tight end coach from 15 to 16, and then moved all the way up to the tight end position coach from 16 to 18 when he got his shot at offensive coordinator in 2019. 2 years being an OC, he was able to get that Titans offense from stagnant to moving. He runs the ball and he knows how to call plays. But let's get into one thing I really like about him is what he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill. If you look here, this is Ryan Tannehill's best year. His best year in Miami, 27 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 4,045 yards. That is his best year, which is good. So you knew there was talent there. But again, he got lost. He had games where he was 24 and 17, 19 and 12, 17 and 14. Like he had some bad seasons, and in no season with Miami was he over a 93 passer rating. But here comes Aurther Smith. The first season, he only plays 10 games, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 117.5 passer rating, again in 10 games. And then in 2020, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 3,819 yards, and 106.5 passer rating. I'm not going to lie, this guy is intriguing. I like what he was able to do on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what we need in Philadelphia, a lot of fixing the offense. Now, you could do that with a defensive head coach if you get the right guy at OC. Again, a guy like Aurther Smith ain't going to go from OC to OC. He wants a head coaching job. But one thing I want to know, he came in with the Tennessee Titans and went from here to here to here to here. He was persistent, and that's what defines the city of Philadelphia. No quit, don't give up, fight. Keep grinding. He grind all the way up to OC. He didn't think it was going to happen most likely, but he made it happen. And when he got his shot, he took it. What he was able to do with Ryan Tannehill, a guy who came out of college with talent and showed it a season or two, but then he would always fall back into his shell. So when he was traded to the Tennessee Titans, everybody was like, ha ha ha, you got Mariota and Tannehill, two what-if kind of quarterbacks. And it ain't what if. He took a guy who was good, cough, cough, Carson Wentz, who fell apart, cough, cough, Carson Wentz, and got him back to good, cough, cough, Carson Wentz. So I'm not sure if it's going to automatically translate to Carson Wentz and his team, but you got to think it's promising. You might need to get some coaching staffs in here, assistants, some guys who've been around the league and been on staffs who can give him mentoring advice, because anytime you take a young guy going up, like Frank Wright got his guys and he leaned on people, but coordinators turn a head coach always go through a little bumpy road, a la Doug Peterson in 2016. Had Frank Wright leaned on him, 16 it wasn't that good, but 17 it turned really good. So this guy is interesting just because of the way the offense moved in Tennessee, running the ball, balanced attack, and he took a quarterback that did have talent but wasn't showing it and brought it back out of him. However he did it, he did it. With that being said, they were the 3 guys that were interviewed by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, again, this is a first interview, so it's pretty much a virtual interview, especially with COVID. So it's going to be a while before we do some more interviews, which I expect the Eagles to do, bounce around and check things out. And we probably won't hear back for a second interview for a little bit, so we can feel around and not discourage any of the guys. But remember, we are a couple weeks late, and a guy like Robert Saleh is going on his second interview with the New York Jets. So I'm releasing this early in the morning, and he could be picked up a couple hours after I release this. So we got to wait and see. And just to end this video, let's talk about some Howie Roseman. I can't believe he's able to survive 3 coaches, going on his 4th coach. That just shows that Jeff Lurie, while being the owner, will not fire this guy unless he does something right completely wrong in his face. Now, him bringing a guy like John Dorsey in here, that's the only thing that can keep me positive. Hopefully he's able to fix the cap, which again, him fixing the cap is going to get right on Jeff Lurie's good side, just in enough time for him to mess something up, and Jeff Lurie oversees it because of how he fixed the cap. I don't know. We need to get people in here to evaluate talent and do the drafting part of it. Simple and plain. And whoever you pick as the head coach, you can't treat him the same way you treated Doug Peterson, or in 2 to 3 years you're going to have the same thing. You get a guy who gets us to the playoffs, he starts saying I want more power, Howie says no, and we're back in the same situation. So we got to make sure that we're actually treating these head coaches right. And that's what makes me think I was going to do a whole video on how appealing is this coaching opportunity for the Eagles. And if you look at the logo, the city of Philadelphia, how many divisions we won, championships we've been to, it's a great city and a great place to play for, but it's very demanding. If you don't win, the fans get at you, the beat writers get at you, and your job is on the line. And they know that there's a guy named Howie Roseman who's just looming over this job. And that is going to scare certain coaches away when they can go to a Falcons team that is in shambles, or a Jets or a Jags who get in Trevor Lawrence, but they can go to these organizations that's not as bright as the Eagles, but then again, they have more power, more say, so they could either succeed or fail on their terms, not somebody else's. And that is huge in the decision making for some of these guys. Now, you might get an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, one of the lower guys, maybe not an Eric Bieniemy or a Lincoln Riley, if you don't offer them power. I don't know. We're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to this, because I don't think the coaching is going to be picked right away. But real quick before we end this video, shout out to some channel members. Jesse, who said if we're going to go outside, he wants Brian DeBall, or inside, Deuce Staley. Rome One More, shout out to him. He said he would like Robert Saleh, said it from the gate. Anadile B said he wants Lincoln Riley. And Vic 3 said he got 3 choices: Eric Bieniemy, Brian DeBall, or Jim Caldwell. So shout out to them for giving me some advice as channel members. Appreciate them 100%. Until next time, leave me all your thoughts in the comment section. Do you like any of these 3? Do you have another choice? We are not done talking. We're going to talk about Brian DeBall. We're going to talk about Lincoln Riley. We're going to talk about Eric Bieniemy. But these were the 3 we interviewed, so I wanted to get them out in the open. Let me know in the comment section all your thoughts and comments. Until next time, you guys know what time it is. We out.